Liverpool plans 2026 raid on Newcastle United for £32 million star, player identified as alternative to main target. Liverpool rivals Chelsea for €80 million midfielder transfer. Hello, fellow fan. Come check out the latest updates from the world's biggest club. Liverpool is reportedly eyeing Sven Botman, the 25-year-old Newcastle United defender, as an alternative in case they fail to sign Marc Guehi next season. According to a report from Record published by Sport Witness, the Reds are determined to strengthen their defense in one of the upcoming transfer windows, and the Dutchman emerges as a solid option to reinforce the defensive line of the Merseyside club. Born in Bodhoeddorp, Netherlands, Sven Botman began his youth career at RKSV Pancratius before joining the renowned Ajax Academy, where he quickly stood out for his tactical maturity and defensive skills. His career gained even more prominence during his time at LOSC Lille in France, the club that brought him to the European top-level scene. In July 2022, Botman moved to Newcastle United in a £32 million deal, including add-ons. Since then, the defender has faced some injury issues, which led coach Eddie Howe to use him sparingly over the past 2 seasons. Despite these injury challenges, Botman has been gaining more playing time at Newcastle and has already accumulated over 500 minutes across 8 matches in the 2025-26 season. His consistent performances and international experience make the Dutchman an attractive option on the market, drawing attention from clubs like Liverpool, who are seeking defensive solutions. Liverpool's search for a defender intensified after failing to secure Marc Guehi in the last transfer window. While Guehi remains the club's priority, competition from major European clubs has complicated the negotiation. Recent reports indicate that the Crystal Palace captain does not feel obligated to move to Anfield, despite previously showing interest. This has left Liverpool in a delicate situation, making it essential to identify reliable alternatives, with Botman emerging as a viable and experienced option. In addition to Botman, Liverpool is also monitoring other players, such as Zino de Bost, Ousmane Diomande, and Willian Pacho, keeping their options open to strengthen the defense. The decision to pursue the Dutch defender will depend on the progress of the Guehi negotiations and the assessment of Botman's physical condition, but his experience, leadership ability, and trajectory at top European clubs make him a strong candidate to bolster the Reds squad. In the coming months, it will be interesting to see if Sven Botman becomes one of Liverpool's primary targets and whether his potential signing could provide stability and competitiveness to the club's defense in the Premier League and European competitions. Liverpool also appears to be one of the clubs interested in a potential transfer of Eduardo Camavinga, the French midfielder from Real Madrid. The 22-year-old has been attracting attention from top European clubs, and the Reds are reportedly closely monitoring the player's situation. According to Graham Bailey, speaking to TBR Football, Real Madrid values Camavinga, but acknowledges they might struggle to keep him if he does not receive regular playing time under Xabi Alonso. Quote, Real loves Camavinga, but they know they cannot hold on to a player who isn't playing frequently, especially when other clubs are ready to sign him immediately, Bailey explained. Camavinga is also being pursued by Chelsea, increasing competition for the Frenchman's signature. Quote, he is a top-level player who deserves attention. At 22, he can operate both in midfield and as a left back, offering versatility and quality to any team, the journalist added. Liverpool could benefit from signing Camavinga to strengthen either their midfield or left back position, particularly given that recent signing Milos Kerkez has yet to settle in the role. Meanwhile, Chelsea could further bolster their midfield behind Moises Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez. Reports suggest that Real Madrid could ask around €80 million for the player. Although the price is high, clubs like Liverpool and Chelsea would likely be willing to invest if the deal goes through. With his talent, early international experience, and versatility, Camavinga presents a strategic option for any major European club looking to reinforce their squad with quality signings for upcoming seasons. Fellow fan, tell me, do you think the club should invest heavily in Eduardo Camavinga or focus on strengthening other positions first? However, Liverpool's defense faces problems far beyond the center-back position. The options at right back are also far from ideal. Players like Connor Bradley, Jeremy Frimpong, and Dominic Szoboszlai have performed well, but the team's defensive consistency is still not guaranteed. On top of that, Ibrahima Konate is going through one of the worst phases of his career, making the Reds' backline a real challenge. David Lynch, a specialized journalist, believes that Crystal Palace's participation in the UEFA Europa Conference League could represent a big problem for Liverpool. One of the defenders most linked to a move to Anfield this season is Marc Guehi. The player came very close to joining Liverpool on the last day of the transfer window, but in the final moments, Crystal Palace decided not to complete the deal, leaving the Reds without the key addition they wanted. This situation became even more critical due to Giovanni Lozani's injury. Liverpool is just one injury away from facing a full defensive crisis. Lozani has been ruled out for the season with an anterior cruciate ligament rupture, leaving the team with only 3 experienced center backs in the squad. Despite this vulnerability, it still seems unlikely that Liverpool will seek reinforcements in January. According to David Lynch, any offer made to Crystal Palace in January is unlikely to be enough to convince the club to release Guehi, as they will be competing in the Europa Conference League. The big problem around Guehi is that Palace will probably feel that any amount received in January is not enough to justify letting the player go. They are focused on fighting for a European spot this season. What amount of money would justify releasing him in January? I don't know if there is any. It seems unlikely, so Liverpool's argument will be, why spend money on someone we don't need now when we can wait and sign him for free in the summer? Honestly, I doubt they will enter the market in January, although it would be a surprise if they did. Given this scenario, Liverpool needs to define its priorities before the January transfer window. Currently, the club has only 3 experienced center backs available, and with Konate in poor form and Joe Gomez not fully reliable, it's unclear if this defense will be enough for the entire season. Although Endo and Gravenberch can play as center backs, they perform much better in midfield. To remain competitive in the Premier League and Champions League, Liverpool needs to strengthen their defense quickly. Waiting until the summer for Guehi makes financial sense, but if performances do not improve, the board will need to reassess priorities, making every match until January crucial for the team's defensive future. Thank you so much for watching until the end. See you next time!